Okay, the first thing I'm going to encourage you to do is learn your local housing authority rules. Every local housing authority has their own laws, rules, compliances, regulations. Get to know them. You can just peruse the website. You can make a phone call. Most authorities do want you to take a landlord certification class, and a lot of times the instructor there, you can build a relationship with the instructor, and ask deeper questions beyond what they're going to teach you in that training. But the website is there, so there's absolutely no reason for you to get into Section 8 investing and not have the information about your specific area, because it's right online. You can also pop everything in real estate investing. So my first tip that I wish I would have done is getting to know the housing authority personally and thoroughly. Okay, tip number two, just based on some mistakes that I've made, you need to identify the right market. I thought going in that I should just buy in like these C, D grade neighborhoods, and that will give me the best bang for my buck. And it wasn't until a couple of years later where I started investing in like, suburban areas right outside of the big city that were much nicer neighborhoods. And what I found was you could still find really good deals, houses that are not super expensive, and get the Section 8 rents, which are pretty high. And the good thing about that, at least in my experience, is now you're not in a poverty-stricken neighborhood. Maybe your tenant is, at the poverty level or, low income, but everyone around them is flourishing because it's a suburban neighborhood. So that's better for you, your property appreciation, and your tenant and their children, right? The environment that they're going to grow up in. And it did not impact my cash flow. I was still able to find good deals and get the nice high FMR rents via Section 8. So if I could do it all over again, I would not have pigeonholed myself to, one market or the other. I would have taken the time to get to know other markets. But beyond that, just make sure you are in a landlord-friendly state. That is going to make all of the difference in the world, in terms of if you ever have to go through the eviction process. The next thing that I would have done is I would have built my team from the beginning. When you're doing your first one or two houses, you are going to be pretty hands-on, and you should be. That's where you're going to have the biggest learning curve. You're going to make mistakes, you're going to fail, and that's a good thing. That's where the lessons are. But after that, you really should start thinking about how you can delegate or how you can give off tasks to other people who may be better at it than you. Look, no one's on here saying we're smarter than you, right? I am not smarter than you. You can watch every single video that I have and learn everything that I know, but I am more experienced than you. I do have better contacts, a better network, access to crews with more experience, simply because I've been doing this longer. So anyone with a half of a brain should want to hire people that are more experienced than them, that are smarter than them. I wish I would have done that. I, got into the YouTube university and buying all these courses and things like that to learn things that I really should not have been learning. For instance, property management. Property management usually charges between 9 and 11% of the rent, and that is a very small price to pay for the headaches that I don't have to have by having a property manager or having a person who can do a pre-inspection for you. So usually, we learned this lesson the hard way, but anyway, we ended up finding a contractor who used to work for Section 8 as an inspector. And he would come out and do a pre-inspection of our properties. That way we were more likely to pass, or, more likely to only have small little things to fix, versus having to put a whole bunch of money into trying to meet the requirements or the compliance, of the inspection. So my point is, make sure you are building a team along the way. If you are a solopreneur or you're going to be hiring virtual assistants or something like that, then just remember to have standard operating procedures. So if you're going to be doing your own property management, let's say for instance, okay, document your processes, turn them into like a training manual, or it could just be, a document that you can send off. That way, if you're going to hire a virtual assistant for like $5 an hour, well, they can literally take over the property management because you've written out everything that they need to do, and you have a system in which they can work and do it. So that would be my advice. Get a team. Financing and funding. Again, lots of mistakes along the way that I've made. Obviously, a lot of the properties that I did in the beginning were like owner financing, mortgage takeovers, and things like that. But once I started buying in a bit more volume, I had to be more open-minded to other people's money or, going through lenders. And some things that I learned along the way is every lender is not made equally.